About a month ago, we got our first look at the Resident Evil Code Veronica remake. Titled Resident Evil Veronica, Capcom is finally remaking the, let's be honest, most dated Resident Evil title yet to be remade. Inevitably, we will see a lot of changes from the original game, some good, some probably bad, but one good change I can definitely say we will see is the variety of costumes. It's something Capcom has made an effort to include in all their recent third-person titles, and of all the early games, Code Veronica is the one that needs it the most, with it only having one alternate costume. But which one should they include in the remake? Well, that's what we're discussing today. Hello my fellow oddities, here are the costumes we need to see in Resident Evil Veronica. Firstly, I want to cover some sets, or costumes worn by multiple characters with the same general theme. The first thing here is that we absolutely need, and will absolutely get, classic costumes for Claire and Chris at least, but it's very likely we will get some for Steve and Wesker as well. In recent remakes, the only one that didn't get classic costumes is Resident Evil 4. But that's only because the base outfits in that game were already close enough to the original. Here, we've already seen that Claire has a completely different design, and we can assume the same is true for the others as well. So this set is a no-brainer. Code Veronica has some of the most definitive, iconic designs of the series that if they didn't include them, I don't even think there'd be an outcry. People would just be confused. So yeah, 99% chance we get these, 1% chance there's a gas leak at Capcom HQ. Another set that I'd like to see is a concept art set. The original Code Veronica has some quite interesting concept art that I wouldn't mind being repurposed into some alternate costumes. Chris, Wesker, and Steve have some wacky concept art, especially Steve. What the hell were they smoking coming up with this? Steve. Wesker has an outfit that is definitely more generic than his final design, but is still cool with the HCF label on the back and the shoulder logo. And Chris is wearing a vest with nothing underneath. Whoa, Chris, you're supposed to be in your twink era, calm down. What's unfortunate about this set though is Claire herself has basically the same design as her final one, just with pink pants, so I don't really think Capcom would do this, cause if Claire don't got something new and cool, then you might as well throw out the whole thing at that point. But the last set that I'd like to see is a bit of a deep cut. We're eliminating the LARPers with this one. And that's a Western set for Claire, Chris, and Steve, just like they had in Darkside Chronicles. You could also give one to Wesker, I guess, just to be consistent. Nobody wore sunglasses in the Wild West though, so that'd be a bit strange. Anyways, this would just be a fun little callback and another cool theme for Capcom to tackle. You got noir, fantasy, apocalypse, let's check off Western as well. Now, should these be the exact designs from Darkside Chronicles? I don't think so. I think something new would produce much more interesting results. But regardless, why not? But now that we've covered the sets, let's get into some character-specific costumes. Now, if you want to sit there and listen to me yap about my favorite costumes for Claire and Chris, I already did that. So instead, I will be listing costumes that I think best fit the context of this game, being a Code Veronica remake, whether that's in-universe or out. Because of this, I don't really have any other costumes for Steve or Wesker. Steve really just for a lack of options, and Wesker doesn't have any other outfits that I think fit this game, maybe an honorable mention to his RE4R design. I like this one for this game since it mixes the stylish aesthetic Wesker is known for later on with the colors of his STARS outfit, and I think that matches this game much better than it did in RE4. But let's not waste more time. I'm going to cover 5 costumes that I want to see each from the 2 Redfield siblings, starting with the main star, Claire. The first costume that I'd like to see is an RE2 remake design. I contemplated this one a little bit just because I'm not the biggest fan of this design. I find it a little basic, especially compared to her original RE2 outfit. Plus it is kind of similar to what she already has in Veronica. This is clearly the style they're going for with remake vs Claire. However, I have a design later on in Chris's section that would be super peak combined with this one, so I oblige. We gotta get the RE2 remake Claire. The differences from the default Veronica outfit include the jacket being zipped up, the jacket being a little brighter and more vibrant, the jeans being blue instead of black, the necklace, which I really wish they brought back, and obviously the face model looks way better in Veronica. I think this would probably be a good opportunity for Capcom to show off the graphical leap from the near decade difference between the 2 games, and I think this one is the most likely out of the costumes I talk about today, besides the classic Code Veronica design. Especially when you consider Leon also got RE2 remake costumes in both RE4 remake and Requiem, so I think we will see this one brought back. Next one I'd like to see, sticking with RE2, is the classic RE2 design, and not the one from RE2 remake. Ya hear me, Capcom? I'm not trying to see this BS again, with no t-shirt, no brown boots, no gloves, lock it up in the never sees the light of day again vault, and while you're in there, can you please help Jill out? Thank you very much. I want the OG classic design because in my opinion, it is still Claire's best outfit. We haven't seen it in its true form since 1998, and I want it with this face model and these graphics. And I don't think it doesn't fit the Code Veronica Claire. It's only been a few months since RE2, I know she has a lot more of a modest look in the original Code Veronica, and she did change in that time, but this isn't Revelations Claire, she's not completely removed from her RE2 self. Of course they made personality changes to her in RE2R, so maybe they tell a new story here and this just doesn't suit her anymore, but I don't care. Anyways, let's be honest, I'm yapping and arguing with myself. Nobody is going to say no to a classic RE2 Claire, besides maybe the LARPers who will whine that it's less revealing than her RE2 remake version. The next costume I'd like to see is one that probably should have been in the original Code Veronica, but just wasn't for some reason. And that's her red motorcycle bodysuit from the battle game result screen. This one I really don't have much to say on. It's a costume that was technically in the original game, but just never made playable. It's very simple, and although I think it would look perfectly fine the way it is, it's also an opportunity for Capcom to do something similar to their Elsa Walker design and make it much more detailed with textures, decals, maybe some wear and tear to show more personality. Also, if they let her wear the helmet, that would be really funny during cutscenes. They probably shouldn't do that, but it would be hilarious. And that's really all I have to say about this one. Bring it back. Second to last costume we're going to cover for Claire is her first ever alternate costume from Resident Evil 2. This is a costume we haven't seen again since its first appearance, and the main reason I think it would fit really well in this game is because this design was the first one to feature the Let Me Live logo rather than the Made in Heaven one, which is on the default RE2 outfit. That would then become Claire's main logo on her vest in Code Veronica, so this design kind of acts as a fun little precursor to what we'd see later on. I also think it's just a very badass and underrated outfit. The blue denim jacket with the fire decals, the red crop top matching her red headband, the brown boots, the gloves, it's just super cool, and I think especially with Claire's new hair in Veronica, it's gonna look fire, pun very much intended. And the last costume for Claire we gotta see in Resident Evil Veronica is her actual original Code Veronica alternate design, her umbrella outfit. This one is pretty beloved by fans, and I can see why. Vibrant red colors, a fun style, plus it's literally the only other outfit you can really get attached to from this game. So it holds a special place in the hearts of many Code Veronica stans, aka genuinely insane people. I'm sorry, this game is buns. It's like the Sub-Zero mythologies of Resident Evil. Very important to the overall storyline, but goddamn do I never want to play it again. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is that people friggin' like this costume, so it needs to come back. It's like the most alternate design in the history of Resident Evil alternate designs. Just a fun outfit. Does it fit the character? Hell no, but it's flashy and cool, and people want to wear it. The only thing that gives me caution that Capcom might not include this is that it's been a long time since we've gotten a costume like this. An outfit that is, what's even the word? Not sexualized, but like revealing-ish in a goofy way, skimpy maybe? I don't know, but it's the same thing as Rebecca's basketball uniform. If you think of Capcom's latest RE titles, we haven't really gotten a costume like this. Is it because they think it's too sexual? Is it because they think it's too goofy? I don't know, but it could prevent this design from coming back if they're stubborn about it. But I got faith that Capcom will see how much people like this design and bring it back despite of whatever their new philosophy is with women character designs. It's the only damn alternate from that original game. That's like the least we could ask for besides just the classic design. Have it be unlocked the same way it is in the original. Beat Battle Game or whatever alternative they cook up and you get it. Simple. Now let's move on to her less cool brother, Chris, who since he changes so much from game to game, I had to get a little more creative with his options. Firstly, just like I did for Claire, we gotta see his battle game result screen design, that being his Fisher outfit. Now I don't think you can just port this costume over the same way it is in the original, cause it's just the RE1 Stars outfit but with a blue vest and green shirt. That's too similar, so there need to be some changes. My personal suggestion is to put that big ass fish just hanging off his belt or something. Please, it'd be so funny. If it's too big, either just scale it down or put it on his back or something. Hell, the game is third person. I think that would be enough of a change and incentive to bring this costume back, which I would really enjoy cause green and blue is a very underrated color scheme for Chris. I love his RE6 design. So bringing this back would be a huge treat, especially if they include the fish. Next one to cover is the classic design, RE1 Stars. I think this is one of the more obvious picks for Chris. We haven't seen it yet in the RE engine, not even RE-verse had it, I mean, come on. So I think young Chris's first appearance in the RE engine would be the perfect time to introduce his literal first appearance. Now maybe they're gonna wait until the RE1 remake to include this design, but Man, RE1 shouldn't even be getting a remake, but that's a different conversation. And also, a gamma ray burst could suddenly wipe us all out in less than a fraction of a second at literally any time. Just give us the damn design. I'm really interested to see what Chris is going to end up looking like face model wise. I do think it'll probably just be the village model but aged down, but I don't know, I just can't imagine that. He has a very old looking face. But yeah, like with Claire, if they want to showcase how far they've come, give us a classic design to compare. Next up, I had to dig deep for this one. I want Chris's snow uniform from Umbrella Chronicles. I think you could even maybe make this a set potentially between Claire and Chris, cause goddamn, would snow outfits not go hard in the Antarctica section of this game? I didn't make it a set though, just cause Claire has never actually had a design like this, so I'd have no idea what it looked like, but Chris has actually had two. In Revelations 1, he also had a snow outfit. I don't really like that one though, and I think the Umbrella Chronicles design is way better. It keeps it simple with the white and light green color palette that just looks very clean and very nice. It's also a bit puffier and more snug than his Stars outfit, and again, I think Capcom would really do some good work modernizing a design like this and making it work even better. Second to last, we gotta get the Made in Heaven jacket design. This was Chris's first ever alternate costume. It's fairly well known and popular, with it inspiring Claire's look in RE2, but it's never actually returned since the first game. I know it's a little basic, but I think that's a shame. It's the one casual design he's had that actually has some personality. And not a shitty personality. Plus, call back to earlier in the video, this paired up with the RE2R Claire would be great because they're both leather jackets with the Made in Heaven logo on the back. And matching sibling outfits is just too peak, and there needs to be as many of those as possible. Unfortunately though, Chris's logo would absolutely mog Claire's because Claire's barely even exists, but I digress. But yeah, this design really should have been brought back anytime Chris has had a casual outfit, and with this being the one mainline game where he gets to appear alongside his sister, you gotta at least include it here. But then the very last Chris costume, and the very last costume overall, we have to see come back in Resident Evil Veronica is an RE1 remake design. Now I know what you might be saying, but you already have the classic RE1 Stars outfit. Why do you need this one too? Won't they just be the same thing? I'm gonna hold your hand when I say this. You may want to sit down. I'll give you a sec. Yeah, they're gonna completely change the Stars outfits in the RE1 remake. Listen, it is 2026, not 2002. They're not just gonna do a small little modernization, alright? They're going to completely switch it up to make it more grounded and realistic, I am telling you. Leon is Capcom's little golden boy, so he's the only one that gets costumes that even slightly resemble his OG appearances. That's just the way it is. So, I'm no marketing genius, but since Chris in this game almost acts as a teaser to what we may get in an RE1 remake, advertising his new design first here before it becomes his default in that game seems like a good choice. Hell, I would not be surprised if Capcom just ends up making whatever Chris's design will be in the RE1 remake the default in Veronica. Lore-wise, he's not really supposed to change appearances all that much. Would that be kinda lazy? Yes it would be. But sometimes lazy is just a synonym for smart, my friend. So yeah, I can't really say anything looks-wise as I cannot see the future, nor do I work at Capcom, but it's more than likely Capcom will cook up a cool design, so I'm not too worried about it being booty cheeks. And so that is all the costumes that I would personally like to see in Resident Evil Veronica. Will all of these actually come to the game? No. Me saying needs in the title and in the video is just over-exaggerating because YouTube. I would actually be very surprised if more than one or two of these came to the game, but this is just a fun brainstorming session for the ideal world. So what costumes would you like to see in Resident Evil Veronica? Let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this, and that's wraps on this one, my fellow oddities. I'll see you next time.